Oh boy, here we go. Another day, another stream, another life to live. Summoning everyone, checking the audio. Sounds good. I haven't sung this song in a long time, but I'm going to try to do my best. Think it was a Sunday morning, clouds in the skies, smiles on the faces of people walking by. There was no reason to be sad, no reason to complain. And if you saw the sunrise, you'd probably understand a little more. I can't wait to see Foxy Shazam in concert this afternoon. Say that you love me, say that you're mine, and say that you'll be there until the end. There were cracks in the streets, oh, oceans between us. I saw lights in your hair. It's a lazy summer day. I've got two plane tickets to Paris. I've got two plane tickets right out of town. Say that you love me, say that you're mine, and say that you'll be there until the end. So say that you love me, girl, and say that you're mine, say that you'll be there until the end. I will always wait for you, and I'll divide the ocean in two so you can have a path to me. I will always wait. Hello, everybody. Hello, Isabel. Hello, Charlie R. Calliope, however you pronounce that. Hello, Pastel Hexes. Hello, Sarah Louise. Hello, Roman Newhart 9907. What's on my mind? You wouldn't want to know. Let's just say it's pretty dark and twisted and tortured and dark. Hello, PS3 Wizard 45, Cow Tools Band. Frank Olms says Boris is on my mind right now. Interesting, because the other day so some of you may have noticed I've been going through and hitting the heart button on every single old comment on all of my channels. I started with what is now the Trial of the Golden Witch channel. It used to be called Digibro's Turntable. It started as a music analysis channel, and then towards the end of its life, I just started posting my music on that channel. So it already had a bunch of my old music videos and album uploads from like 2018 on it. And so I just went, fuck it, this is going to be the music channel now. You know, music stuff content does really badly on this channel, Trixie the Golden Witch. And it hurts the overall channel's ability to grow, to have that stuff here. So I was like, all right, we're moving it over there. But how do I let people know that the channel is alive again? And in 2018, there was no heart feature. You couldn't hit love on a comment. So I just thought, what if I hit love on every single comment that had ever existed on this channel? And I did. And it's been working. I didn't just do it there. I've started doing it on the Trixie Takes the Square channel, which used to be Digibro After Dark. And, of course, on this channel, I finally started doing it. Because even though for the last, year and a half, I've been hitting love on every comment. Because, I should also explain that in the YouTube dashboard, there is a comments tab, right? That's where I read my comments. I go to the dashboard, I go to the comments tab, and it presents every comment on the channel, and you can organize them by newest first. So that's what I do. I organize them by newest first, and typically what I do is by default, it shows you comments you haven't responded to. But what it means by haven't responded isn't necessarily that you've replied. It's that you've either replied or hit the heart button. And so for the last like year and a half, I will typically hit the heart button on every comment except for comments that I disagree with or don't like. And on those ones, I reply to them because then it'll still clear it out of my comments you haven't responded to. So I basically had like a point. The white guilt is correct video was like the last video I had that had comments on it I had neither hearted or replied to. And so everything that would come in after that would be something I haven't responded to, and I always respond. So now I've been going backwards through things I hadn't responded to and just responding to every single thing just to draw people's attention to the fact that I exist, because YouTube doesn't do a good job of letting people know I exist. And there are so many people who think that I just haven't been making anything, who think that like I've literally been gone for years. And I don't think there's been a period of 6 months that I haven't posted a YouTube video in 15 years, you know, in more than 15 years, actually. Like, my original YouTube channel started in 2007. So, like, it's been almost 20 years, and I don't think there's been 6 months that have gone by that I did not post a YouTube video. It's rare that there were 3 months that passed by that I didn't post a YouTube video. I know it happened once in like 2015, and then once in like, I think there might have been a span of 3 months in 2023 where I didn't post a video. But again, never have I gone anywhere. Like, never have I disappeared from the internet. You know, I've never taken a break that was longer than, like, a lot of channels' average video production cycle. So it always cracks me up when, like, people think I legitimately haven't been around. And I'm like, no, you're just not checking for me. You're counting on algorithms to feed me to you, but they're not always going to do that, you know? So I have to make it my responsibility to drag people in and make sure that you know I'm doing stuff. And that's why I have been hearting everything. I don't remember why I started talking about that. Oh, right, because Boris. So when I was going through the Trixie, or the Trial of the Golden Witch channel, I found that I hadn't looked at this channel in like 8 years. 8 years, something like that. And there were 2 videos that had like blown up considerably in that time. One of them was called Fuck You, Rick Rubin, which was maybe not a well thought out video, but it had a lot of comments either agreeing or disagreeing. Very controversial. It had a lot of comments. It was a very controversial video. And the other one is why Boris has the best discography of all time. Both of these are now unlisted, but you can find them in playlists on the channel. And the Boris one also had a lot of comments that were just, you know, mostly agreeing. Like, yeah, Boris fucking rules. So Boris has been on my mind as well, just because of the fact that I hit like on probably 200 comments on that video just the other day. Isabel said, my local college radio station was playing Just Abandoned Myself this morning. That's crazy. Man, college radio is cool. I should tap into, like, I live close enough to Old Dominion University, and I know they have college radio. I should tap into that. Eventually's Laundry Basket says, hi. I've never seen that account name from you, but I like it. Mitsuo Kubo, thoughts on Endless Jest? You wrote Endless Jest, which makes me think you are combining Endless Jest and Infinite Jest. Which one did you mean? Eventually says, I'm on my 3rd cup of tea this morning. I'm probably on my 3rd cup of black coffee. This household goes through probably 3 mugs, not mugs. What is it called? The full thing. Coffee carafes or whatever. The you know, we go through 3 full loads of coffee. Why is the word for this not in my head? Pots. Thank you. Pots. Fuck. 3 pots of coffee. I don't know who I was thinking. I guess myself. We go through 3 pots of coffee a day, and I think half of that is just me. just drinking black coffee round the clock. Is Trixie takes the square supposed to be a circle takes a square reference? Yes. I'm glad you got that. I've always liked that name a whole lot, and it just occurred to me that, like, not only is it takes the square as in, like, in tic-tac-toe terms, but also, like, a public square. You know, I was thinking of it like, if I'm up on my soapbox, that's Trixie taking the square. So, I thought it was a cool double entendre name. It also just has a good ring to it because it's TTTS. Blah, 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 blah. I keep forgetting to check all your different channels and make sure I'm subbed to it all. It can be tough. It can be tough if you're not constantly keeping up. But the link tree usually links to everything. I don't know if there's anything I have forgotten to put on the link tree, but I'm pretty sure it links to all of the stuff I do. So that's the best place to check to make sure you've seen it all, you know? Isabel said, when I first saw your ranting about Infinite Jest video when I was 10 or 11, I thought it was like a funny pun of Endless Jest, and I was so confused after I clicked on the video. That is funny. Swordmaster Hilda says, hey Trixie, big fan from since 2013 here. Damn, it is what? That's 13 years. I often find myself disagreeing with you, but your insight is pretty much everything has been very thought-provoking and entertaining. You know, I disagree with a substantial amount of what I've said in the past, so... So I wouldn't be surprised if I feel the same way about many things I've said that you do. Brody says, I don't know what's on my mind right now. Laundry. Today is one of the few days laundry is not on my mind. Nobody's doing laundry at the moment, and that is rare in this house. I looked over there because the laundry is right next to me. And that's why, like, I have to time my streaming around, if I don't always want to do streaming, but I tend to time it around when it happens to be that there's no laundry going. Trixie, should I buy Resident Evil 9 now or wait? I would wait for sure. Is it already out? Is it out today or something? Personally, I never, ever, 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 ever purchase anything new or at full price. You will never see me make a purchase of a full-price new anything, much less a video game. I'm cheap, and also I don't mind being late. Also, I just realized the microphone is blocking the cat. I set up the cat to be visible back there. Look at him. Is this? There we go. That'll work. No, I gotta aim it at my mouth, but I don't want to be blocking. Mr. Big Man sleeping back there. He's got his face covered up with his paws, so he just kind of looks like just a circle. You can mistake him for a blanket. I dig personally, but that takes me through time. I don't remember what that was in response to. I think about that Boris video a lot and strongly agree. Good, good, good. I don't remember what I said in it specifically other than, hey, Boris has, like, the ultimate discography, you know. Some of my older videos are, like, in my brain are really just reduced down to the name, you know. Oh, $5 or €5 super chat. Let's hope RE9 drops to $5. I mean, it'll only take a couple years, probably, you know, like... Usually those big publisher games get really cheap eventually. Capcom games, you know, Capcom's doing a big old blowout sale in preparation for RE9 dropping, and, like, none of the games are more than $20, you know? Like, I could get RE4 Remake for, like, $18, which I almost did, but none of my computers can really run it at at a, you know, quality I would want to play it at. You know, I didn't end up doing this, and I should have, but I almost bought Lost Planet because it's only $3 on Steam, and I already own it on Xbox, which was also like $3 when I bought it. But I do really like Lost Planet and would not mind replaying it again. But Nick Drake is so awesome. Big agree there. There's a pink moon. All right, let me scroll back up. Let's see. Thoughts on folks who killed Garay in Argentina, the Querinati folk, inventor of bolas and worshippers of Soichu. I have not heard of any of that. You'll have to educate me in any of that. And I forgot to end up listening. Somebody kept super chatting me to talk about like an Argentinian like death metal band or something, and they sent it to me on Blue Sky, and I meant to listen to that before doing another stream, but I never got around to it. Let's see. Did I listen to Keem's album? Yes, I actually really liked the new Baby Keem album. I was surprised because I did not really care for the Melodic Blue. I liked Family Ties back when that came out, but I was not really looking for Baby Keem, but because I knew the hip-hop conversation was going to entirely be about him, when his new album came out, I was like, I'll give it a go, and I was like, actually, this is pretty good, especially in the car. If you listen to that on, like, a good sound system, it sounds fucking amazing. Like, the production is immaculate. As far as hip-hop releases go, I think it might be my second favorite of the year so far after IDK's album, or mixtape, whatever, ETDS, I think it's called ETDS, A Mixtape by IDK is the full title. But that one is, I've listened to that probably, 30 times or whatever. Like, it's my go-to I'm doing the dishes album, doing the dishes and making dinner album. Most college radio has online streaming now, too. It's sick. You can listen to so much music for free. Yeah, I definitely should get in on that. Good way to discover, like, not just new shit, but old shit I wasn't already listening to, Eventually said, thank you, Trixie. I wanted my YouTube channel where I post videos to have a name that sounds like a place. I like that. That is a cool idea. Have you tried DMX? First we gonna rock, then we gonna roll. Or no, you said DXM. Never mind. I don't know what DXM is, actually. I read it as DMX. Fucking, what's it called when you read a word backwards? Shit. Dyslexia moment. I don't have dyslexia, but I could be convinced after that. Isabel says, by the way, I remember you talking about posting videos on multiple channels. For your information, when you do that, it only appears on one channel page. It just has the other channel linked when you click on the video. Yes, I have noticed that as well. But I think it shows up in... So the advantage of making a video on multiple... Like, be credited to multiple channels is that it will show up in the subscription feed of all of them. Like, so if I go to my... For instance, like, Lil Bill has the Lil Bill channel and the Lil Bill's Barbershop channel. And I think I'm only subscribed to Lil Bill, but he always marks the Lil Bill's Barbershop channel videos as being ascribed to both channels. So they always show up in my subscription feed anyway, even though I don't think I'm subbed to the Barbershop channel. But it's just a way to keep your videos tabs clean so that if like if, say, I were to share every Trixie Takes the Square channel as a collab between me and Trixie Takes the Square, then all those videos would show up in your subscription feed if you were just subbed to this channel, but they wouldn't show up on the videos tab. So I think that's what the point of it is for most people, aside from when you're actually just collaborating, with someone and not just trying to make sure everyone sees your alt content. Our washing machine died this weekend, so I did a shit ton at the Nat this morning. I don't know what the Nat is, but yeah, that sucks. Losing a washing machine is not fun. What is your current YouTube plan? Is the idea to climb back up? I got a long way up. I got a long way up. I got a long way up. Yep. The plan has been to climb back up for the last 6 or 7 years, but I think I'm doing a better job now since quitting weed and kind of getting my brain together. What was on my mind was scouring secondhand stores nearby for tapes, but I found no tapes. Damn. Yeah, I don't think any of the thrift stores around me would carry tapes. Maybe, actually no, there's one that has some, but I don't think they'd have anything I would want to buy. I assume you mean music tapes because of who you are, because I know if Chrono was saying tapes, she'd be talking about VHS tapes, because that's something her and her partner do like all the time. Like every weekend they go out to thrift stores and just buy a bunch of cheap random VHS tapes. How do I get off the new shiny thing carousel? I'm a neat, so that zeitgeist of new thing discourse has kept me alive, but I'm not sure it's healthy. I just straight up don't care like about new stuff. It's hard for me to care about something being new. So it's hard. I don't know how to I've never been on that carousel, so I don't know how to get off of it. You know, like other people being excited about something does not make me excited about it. It just doesn't. I'm very good at tuning out that kind of noise. Now, granted, like I said, I did end up listening to the Baby Keem album because of the fact that everybody was going to talk about it. But I also generally thought I probably might like it, you know? When the J. Cole album came out, I listened to it one time thinking like, okay, I have to see if it's any good so that when the next 2 weeks are nothing but J. Cole discourse, I'll be ready. But what I didn't like it, and so I eventually just stopped watching J. Cole videos, you know? I was just like, I guess I'm going to have nothing to watch for the next 2 weeks, because I cannot fucking sit through people talking about J. Cole all fucking day after day. I was so happy that the Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance moved the cultural conversation onwards, because it was actually interesting, you know? Also thinking about medical things as usual. I never think about anything medical. Probably gonna be my downfall one day. Boris is cool as fuck. They like Nick Drake. Yes, yes, yes. And I was a fan of that Boris album before discovering the Nick Drake album as well. So I was like, oh shit. This is where they got it from. RE4 Remake is amazing. I put 100 hours into it. I don't doubt it. But do I like Lost Planet 2? No. I don't like Lost Planet 2 or 3 at all. Caribou Coon's here. How is the snow on your end? Did you get hit with it? Just finished shoveling my roadside, but my car is still buried in the parking lot. We did get hit, and it melted by the next afternoon. Neverwinter, Norfolk. We actually got snow 3 different times this year so far. I don't think it's going to happen again, but all of the second one was the most lasting. Like it lasted maybe 2 days, but generally here it'll be like really cold in the night and morning, but the mid-afternoon gets considerably hotter. Like there's usually a 20-30 degree difference between like 10 a.m. and like 3 p.m. here. How much money to look at my 10 out of 10 albums on Rate Your Music? Just send them along, Isabel. I'll look at them. I haven't watched the Akira Dragon Ball video yet. Would you recommend it as a video you're proud of in 2026? I would recommend every single video I've put out in 2026 as a video I'm proud of. I do not release videos I am not proud of. I stash them. If I record a video and I don't like it, I either delete it or I keep it on a hard drive somewhere thinking like maybe I'll re-edit this into something that makes sense one day. But I have only made videos I'm proud of this year. Particularly, I mean, my favorite video I've made this year is definitely They Hate to See You Happy on the Trixie Takes the Square channel. That is one of my best pieces of content I've ever done. It has legitimately changed several people's lives already. Like, I've seen the effects it has on people. And I think it's the most powerful message I've ever put out, basically. As for the Akira Dragon Ball one, that's part 2 in an ongoing series about the lineage of Osamu Tezuka. So if you didn't see my first Tezuka video, watch that first, then watch the Akira Dragon Ball one. That is the... You're not going to be able to keep up with the narrative if you skip videos. All right? Like, everything I do is narrative. If you're not keeping up with the narrative, you're going to end up lost. You're going to end up thinking I haven't made anything in several years at some point. Like, you have to follow the narrative. It's a show, you know? Sarah Louise said, I like Keem, his voice is cool. Yeah, and I didn't like his voice before, but it's grown on me. I think he's gotten better at it. I can only imagine, having made so many videos, it's hard to keep track of it all. I imagine you could create a whole different person from the you that exists in old videos. Yeah, that person is not me. Anything before... Honestly, anything before my retirement is like too different for me to really relate to it anymore. Like 2022 August, I made a video called I'm Retiring. And then after that, I made like a couple of really weird kind of shitposty things like Baby Stabber, which is really good, but it is a weird shit post. Um, and then I spent like a few months away from YouTube, and then I came back with the We Watch Anime channel, where me and my husband were doing like a weekly podcast about, at first, current anime, and then we started talking about older shows, and then our job got too busy and we just kind of couldn't do it anymore. Then in early 2024 is when I decided, like, I'm going to go hard back into YouTube. And I spent all of 2024 making some of my favorite videos, but at the same time, I was in kind of just a depressive place. Like, I didn't feel like I was making positive progress in my life. I also did a fuckload of live streaming that year because I found out that, like, the live stream meta was getting more powerful on YouTube. But last year, after moving into this house, I started doing a lot more self-work and kind of, getting myself into the mental state to be ready to actually, take on YouTube as a full-time career again. And this year is where I've just been like, all right, we're here. Like, I feel comfortable in my life. I feel happy with what's going on, and I'm ready to just take charge and make shit happen. Butthole Weeb with $5 says, on my mind, why 3 unskip ads on live stream? Why are Japanese women so fire over here? And also halfway through game Ghostwire Tokyo, and it rules. I didn't know you were still in Japan. Why 3 unskippable ads? Blame YouTube for that. I didn't think they still did unskippable ads. I have YouTube Premium. I don't ever see ads. So, I encourage that because it also pays me more for every view if you have Premium. Dappa said, I've been rewatching Karekano and I can't stop thinking about how I love the texture of it. I love the backgrounds and line art looks in that show and how it's edited. And arg, I want to eat it. Isabel also sent me the link on Blue Sky. I'll check that out after I catch up in chat. Ever since y'all talked about Baby Keem, I've got that the Birds and the Bees stuck in my head where he's like, Monday, Tuesday, something. Thursday, you gonna meet Baby Keem. Just that the way he says Thursday you can meet Baby Keem is really good. I really like that. As like a rapper saying their own name hook, that's a top tier one. Wanted some advice on how to improve as a writer. I really like my YouTube scripts, but as soon as I watch your vids or someone like Eyepatch I just hate my work, and it's because I'm not good yet. The only way out is through, basically. You just got to keep doing it. Read my old work and understand how bad it was. Anytime somebody says they're jealous of my writing, I'm like, this was a hard fought, If you read stuff I wrote when I was in my teens, it is deeply embarrassing. Very bad. I just put on Nujabes and Nujabes associated artists on shuffle every day. That's not a terrible way to live. Nujabes is a little too chill for me most of the time. Adeni Beloy said 2026 Trixie locked in. Absolutely. Absolutely locked in. And Throwod2923 with $2 says, I think you need to try to collab with FD Signifier. I would love to do that. I don't know what we would do it on. Like, he is very... If there are two people, I should say 3 people, but 2 shows I'd like to collaborate with the most would be FD Signifier and the members of Versus Wolves. I don't know if I don't think it would be a good idea to be a guest on Versus Wolves because it's a once a month podcast that is about the very specific chemistry of Super Eyepatch Wolf and Wooly Versus. But I would love to work with each of them, like maybe even just all 3 of us, but it's not Versus Wolves, I don't want to fuck up a show I like, basically, is what I'm saying. But I would love to work with them because out of people who I really enjoy their content online and who are like my age, people who are actually age peers and experienced peers who like a lot of the same stuff that I like, FD Signifier is a big Mars Volta fan. So that could be a thing. Like, the 2 of us just geeking out over the Mars Volta, but I don't know if it would make sense for him. I would have to kind of set something up probably and then pitch it to him because he's just got enough going on as it is. But yeah, I would love to work with FD Signifier. I would love to work with Super Eyepatch Wolf and Wooly Versus. when I think about like who is like a popular YouTuber I would want to collaborate with, those are the people who come to my mind. Okay, what else is here? I don't have enough money to pay a bill tomorrow, so I'm trying to rectify that by gambling. Don't, Anonymous, no. Ask someone for money. Just like call your dad or I don't know, your dad might be dead. Call somebody. Like, if you lose the money you have gambling, you will doubly not be able to pay your bill. Gambling is not a way to make money. It is a way to lose money. It is entertainment media that you pay for. It is not a fucking get-rich-quick scheme. Gambling is evil. Don't do it. Don't be dumb. Stop. You need to stop. You said you've never been on that carousel, but what about seasonal anime back in the day? I never have kept up with seasonal anime, like, in any kind of real way. Like, typically what I would do is wait till the season was over, and then whatever was the most popular stuff on my anime list, I would watch purely to talk about on YouTube. I have never in my life kept up with a show every episode, every week, until this season. I think this season, me and Bird will actually have watched every show every week as it came out, and it will be the first time in my life. Like, we tried with We Watch Anime, but we fell behind a couple times, so it doesn't really count. But this will be the first season ever where I kept up with all the shows week by week, assuming nothing goes wrong in the next month and I end up missing a week or something. But, and well, I'm going crazy today, Mayday says. Why are you going crazy? In a good way or a bad way? Sometimes going crazy is a good thing, you know. Yeah, imagine me and Eye Patch Wolf and Woolly Versus and FD Signifier all in one video. That would be truly crazy. But 4 is kind of a crowd, so I don't know. You quit weed. Are you trying to work on improving health, like with diet and working out too? Trying to live, laugh, love. Let me show you the workout I've been doing. At risk of smoking myself out right here on stream, and not in the getting high way, but what I've been doing is a lot of this. I'm trying to get abs like Kanbaru Suruga before summertime. So I've just been doing lots of dips and like leg lift ab type shit in my chair. You know? So in that capacity, yeah, I've been working out. As for diet, I think my diet's been pretty much good for a few years now. Missed the Void Gazers arc. You are a rare breed. Isabel with $2 says, please do a show with them. OMG. Also Sky. I would like to do, yeah, Professor Sky would be cool too. And he seems to like me enough. I don't know. I'm scared of, I don't want to talk about hip hop with Professor Sky is the thing. Because I really don't want it to be two white people get together to do a hip hop conversation. Like, that's just embarrassing to me, you know, but I do want to work with Professor Sky, maybe on something else. I'd love to try to educate him more on anime, because he doesn't really know anything about anime. At one point, I demanded him to watch Ghost in the Shell as homework, but I don't think he's done it yet. I have not heard of the film All About Lily Chocho. I fucking love Baby Stabber. Hell yeah, me too. I actually started work on a sequel to Baby Stabber called Baby Stomper versus Baby Stabber, introducing a new character, Baby Stomper, and obviously Baby Stomper and Baby Stabber are going to have serious disagreements about the best method for baby murder, so they're going to have to fight. I'm going like the Godzilla route, you know, how Godzilla's like a bad guy, but then he fights worse guys. That's what I want from the next Baby Stabber. But I only wrote like one sentence of it, and then I was like, all right, this will have to wait. Thanks for making that video showing all the different channels you have. Now I have hella content to watch and sift through. Hell yeah. That's the other thing. It is sometimes, maybe disappearing, or, the audience disappearing from my content for a little while and then coming back. It gives you lots to binge. I think that can be a very fun way to get caught up as somebody who struggles to keep up with currently airing things. I feel like your entire career in music discography make for its own Eye Patch Wolf video essay. I've been waiting for that forever. I have so long been waiting for someone to try to make the comprehensive Trixie the Golden Witch lecture or whatever, like someone has to try to explain all this shit. And I don't want it to be me. I've done enough of explaining myself. Mars Volta fucks so hard. Big agree. Hey Trixie, nice to catch you live. Was thinking about you because I've had Big Skirt Energy stuck in my head all day. Hell yeah. That's a song I kind of wouldn't mind re-recording because I don't love the instrumental on it, and I also don't love the vocal take on the chorus, like the... How does it go? Hold on, let me look it up real quick before I fuck it up. Like, I like the way the rapping is on it a lot, but I'm not as big a fan of my delivery of the, hardcore vocals, and I think I could do it better. It goes, yeah. Your torch ain't burning out. And that's not a good take either, but particularly the part where I'm like, not afraid to face me. I don't even want to run. I think I could do that whole bit better than how it was. Okay, let me try to get to Isabel's Rate Your Music collection. I have to verify that I'm human. This is like 4 pages long. I'm just going to talk about the ones I've actually heard. Spirit They're Gone, Spirit They've Vanished used to be one of my going to bed albums for a while. I'm curious to know if my hearing has fucked up enough yet that I can't hear there's a loud ringing in the first song that if you get old enough you can't hear anymore, and it's part of the theme of the album or whatever. I think that's dope. I know I've heard Peaceful as Hell, but I don't really remember it. Black Midi's Hellfire is cool. I never got as into Black Midi as I got into Jordy Greep by himself. Boris Flood, another one I used to go to bed to all the time. Hounds of Love's a classic. Disintegration, I haven't listened to that really in a while, but when I started, right before or right at the beginning of Gender Transition, I was really into that album. Let's see... Ex-Military, obviously one of my favorites. The Money Store, obviously one of my favorites. Year of the Snitch, underrated in general. Go to page 2. Pink Moon by Nick Drake is really good. I feel like there's... I know I've listened to Pink Moon and Nick Drake's, first album a lot. Or is Pink Moon his third? I can't remember. I know there's one I haven't really listened to. He only had 3 albums. And so I feel like I've been saving... them, because I had Pink Moon probably 10 years before I heard a second Nick Drake album, and there's one I still haven't really listened to because I'll be out, if I listen to all 3 of them. I won't have any more. Aiden Beloy with 5 euros says, I would try to do a Trixie documentary, but I only started following you in 2017 and I have some of your newer content to catch up with first. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to have been there forever. It could be someone just digging it all up. Osamu Tezuka died before I was born. So anything I say about him is tremendously removed from the actual time he was, doing stuff. So I don't think you got to worry too much about that. Have a Nice Life, Death Consciousness, another album I used to go to bed to. Veteran by JPEG Mafia is pretty fucking good. Kids See Ghosts I was never as into as everyone else. To Pimp a Butterfly, classic. GNX, modern classic. Mad Villainy I feel like I could get more into than I have been. Mean Everything to Nothing, that's one of my, one of those albums that means everything to nobody but me and you, I guess. Obviously, there's people who love that album. Plenty of people who love that album, but I do think it's underrated from a critical standpoint. Still have never really gotten that into Massive Attack. For whatever reason, whenever I turn their stuff on, I just instantly kind of tune out. I don't know why. Master of Puppets. I did not expect to see that on a list with all this other stuff. It has some pretty good songs on it. I know I've heard This Is a Long Drive, but I don't remember anything on it. Loveless by My Bloody Valentine is pretty cool. Never liked The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. I cannot get into that album. I don't know why. Most of my generation loves that album. I cannot get into it. Also, In the Aeroplane Over the Sea, I've never been able to get into either. I realize nobody can see the list I'm looking at, but that's partly intentional because I don't want to be asked, like, you didn't hear this album? You know, Nina Girachi's I Love My Computer, one of the best albums of last year. Pink Floyd Animals, amazing album. OK Computer and Kid A, I have never been the biggest fan of, but I do think Kid A is quite good. Still haven't listened to that whole Chapel Roan album. Slint Spiderland, I listened to like continually on repeat while reading House of Leaves, and that was a great experience. The Smiths, The Queen is Dead is great. Sun Kill Moons, Common as Light and Love are Red Valleys of Blood. I specifically remember listening to that while building a shelf in my old house on Rainbow Drive, the Rainbow Ranch. I realized nobody probably knew why that house was called the Rainbow Ranch, but it was because it was on a road called Rainbow Drive. All right, I think that's all the ones I really, really know from that list of Isabel's favorite or 10 out of 10 rated albums on Rate Your Music. Okay, now I'm going to read the chat starting from the bottom and going up until I see something I've already read. Ever listen to Jeff Buckley? No. Don't think I've ever heard of him, actually. Brody said Crying. I don't know what about, but I hope you'll be all right. Some of the most satisfying discographies that go places: Rush, Ween, Nine Inch Nails, and Tom Waits. Definitely all ones where there's a couple albums I really like and a bunch of albums I straight up haven't heard. Ween has... My favorite Ween song is Transdermal Celebration. And, of course, Ocean Man. I was just listening to Rush today, actually. I listened to a few of their songs while I was dumping a bunch of fucking trash out of my garage at the city dump. Nine Inch Nails, funnily enough, the only album of theirs that I've really heard a lot is With Teeth, just because when I was growing up, it was like, my mom was like a die-hard Nine Inch Nails fan around when I was born. Like, that was... She literally had done her hair in the, like, mohawk ponytail that Trent Reznor had because of him in, like, 1990. But, like, that music was kind of too dark for me as a kid. And so when With Teeth came out was, like, when I was old enough to really, listen to it. And so I heard that a lot. And it's pretty good. It's got a few songs that I still think about all the time. Don't you fucking know what you are? Which that song was directly ripped off on the Soul Eater soundtrack. I talked about this in my video about Taku Iwasaki. Like, he just straight up ripped that song off on the Soul Eater soundtrack. He also ripped off Points of Authority by Linkin Park on the Gurren Lagann soundtrack. And Tom Waits, I've mostly heard Blood Money, which is pretty good. It's got a few really great songs on it. Get on them E-injections if you aren't doing that already. I'm not going to use injections. That is, I'm afraid of needles. But I have not been on E in, like, over a year. I have to get blood work done and shit. And I've been broke because I've been spending all my money on fucking weed for, like, 8 years. So now that I'm off weed, I am actually going to have enough money to start HRT again, hopefully soon. Butthole Weed with $5 says, gonna get cousin here to help. Tobias, no women in Japan will admit it's highly mealy as fuck, and we got work to do in Japan, gotta admit it. I'm guessing you're trying to say that your cousin is gonna help you convince Japanese women that apples are mealy as fuck? Or butthole is mealy as fuck, rather? That's right. Your thing is about buttholes are like apples, mealy as fuck. Okay. Or red delicious apples, at least. It's been so long since this joke has made sense. It's impressive. Tickets to see 10 Tricks Point Never in New York City on April 30th. That's awesome. Last time I heard him was I saw Marty Supreme. And it had good music in it. I quit weed, but I'll never quit LSD. I would definitely do LSD if I had some. You know, I'm not opposed to doing drugs, period, but my weed problem is a problem, so I had to stop. It's been almost a month. And at this point, I am, like, legitimately afraid of even smoking. Like, I've had opportunities and just been like, I don't even want to fuck with this, you know? Like, things are going too good for me this month. I don't want to fuck with it. I would give you $100 if you got in contact with either of them and just tried to collab with them because I think they could really get you back on track on YouTube. That's possible. I mean, what do you think we should do? Like, give me suggestions for what you think we should do, because just the idea of you should collab is not really a thing, you know? Like, we're all busy. We all have our own ideas of what we're doing. So, like, I would need a specific thing you think that we should collaborate about, you know? Okay, my favorite videos of yours are Compress, Decompress, and I Can't Explain. I remember really liking Compress, Decompress. I think just in terms of making a good point, I really liked that video. Super busy, no breaks for food. That sucks. Transdermal celebration. Jets flew information, I could see them. If I'm not mistaken, I remember you saying Del the Funky Homo Sapien is one of your favorite rappers. Favorite album from him. That's another guy who I have heard a few of his albums really extensively, and some of them I'm not sure I've heard at all. But Both Sides of the Brain is my favorite. Particularly the first two tracks on there, and the way they bleed into each other is really cool. But If You Must was in Tony Hawk 3 and has been one of my favorite rap songs since Tony Hawk 3. Like, absolute classic. It's important to practice good hygiene, at least if you want to run with my team. I'm about to get into some shit that I've seen. This fool's breath so bad I said it melts your ice cream. I only just found out you were active when you liked the comment on mine from 5 years ago. Yes, the tech is working. I'm so happy about it. I literally have been liking every single comment. Just trying to bring people back. That it's working. It's working. I've been waiting for the comprehensive Trixie deep dive video too. YouTube feels like it's slowly entering a self-cannibalization of content phase, so it might be soon. I have many times considered just making my career talking about YouTube videos, but I don't know the right approach to take, because I've done lots of stuff where I just recommend what I think are all the best videos, you know, like of a certain time period or whatever, but I don't think that's sustainable as like a whole career, or that interesting as like it's cool to do, but it's not great content, you know. But I do watch way more YouTube than I do consume anything else. Like, by far, the media I consume the most is YouTube videos. Second being music. Third being nothing. It's YouTube videos and music considerably outstrip anything else in terms of what I could consume. And yes, Sarah, good point. People should be interviewing people like you about me. If you really want to do like a full-ass documentary on me, interview all the people who I've worked with would be a great way to go about it. I would have assumed it was called the Rainbow Ranch because they did LSD there. I was calling it that before I moved in my acid heads, you know. Like, I had done acid like maybe twice when we moved in there. But no, it was on Rainbow Drive, and the conceit was I had created all those posters. If you remember, I briefly had a backdrop where it was like posters that had a bunch of cutouts of anime magazines that were each color of the rainbow. So it was like one that's all red, one that's all yellow, and so on. And what I had found is that it was really difficult to actually, like, I was thinking I would be doing that through the whole room. Like, I thought I would cover everything in, like, these homemade posters that had, like, single color theming. But it was way harder to find, like, illustrations that really conveyed one color than I thought it would be. So it only ended up being, like, you know, one rainbow's worth of panels, and some of them weren't even complete. And so it was not as cool of an idea as I had hoped. I also was just really, really dissociative at the time. I was in a relationship that I wasn't feeling passionate about anymore, and spending a lot of time laying on the ground listening to noise. Do I like They Might Be Giants? Not really. I know, were they the one that recently had a song called Wu-Tang? I heard that because of an Open Mike Eagle video where he was like, my worlds are colliding. What about the history of anime YouTube? I already did it. That's already a video. It's unlisted right now, but you can find that on this channel. I did it because Giga had done one that I thought was kind of incomplete, so I did my own. I started watching your channel in 2015 and am now a professional manga artist. Hell yeah. While there were obviously other contributing factors in my life, your art contributed massively as well. That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. I always say that I think my audience is, like, primarily creators. Like, the people who enjoy my content the most have always been people who are trying to figure out how to get through their own creation journey, and so they're looking at somebody who is studying creative works and, you know, pulling apart what works and what doesn't. You should definitely follow Taperclip. Taperclip is an original English language manga creator who posts content very frequently about that whole process, and is closely affiliated with me. So, but much more connected to that whole scene. You know, I don't really follow, like, the OEL scene, but Taperclip does. What about the oh, I already read that. I for sure stared at my Code Geass wall scroll for hours on LSD. I would hate to... Looking at anime on acid is just... It's not enough. Like, there's not enough going on there. Unless it's My Neighbor Totoro. That is a good movie to watch on a mild acid high. Very cozy. And yeah, I do need to make another, like, like, I should do, like, a best YouTube videos or best channels of, like, the year or month or something. It's just that it tends to be way more work than I'm expecting. Every time I do it, it ends up being a lot of work. But the company, man, has heavily encouraged me towards doing more of that content specifically. Zen Huxtable just texted me because he made me 8 instrumentals the other day to rap on, and he just said he might make a couple more. I'm absolutely down for that. I haven't had time to actually start working on them yet, but I'm probably going to do that maybe right after this stream. Maybe I'll go work on some Zen Huxtable collaboration. Get hype, get hype, get hype. Yeah, Trixtable is back. Absolutely back. He literally sent me like 8 complete songs. So, Leo Williams says, creator-oriented content should be more mainstream. I don't care about what some dude with no reading comprehension thinks of JJK power scaling, but knowing how it works as a piece of art is so good. True, true, true. Yeah, my Jujutsu Kaisen versus Evangelion spiral storytelling video, I definitely like that one. Up on the Nova's Anime blog channel if you haven't seen it. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of those shows that, like, I really didn't think I was going to get into, but holy shit, did it fucking pick up. Like, season 2 and 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen are pretty fucking great. Do I have a list of directors or mangaka I'm planning to cover in my new Legendary Legacy series, or any hints about who you might cover? Pretty much just Tezuka, Otomo, and Satoshi Kon are like the only ones I really. So for a very long time, I had an idea that I would do, like, that my YouTube career should be just talking about dead people. Like, I was like, whoever's dead, I just want to do like full content dives on dead creators. But the thing is that most creators do quite a lot in their lifetime if they're good, and like consuming all of a creator's content just for one video is like ridiculously daunting. And so after making my Perfect Blue video, I was going to do Satoshi Kon because it would be fairly easy. He died really young and, you know, didn't make that much stuff. But, like, in preparing for that, I was like, let me look into his influences, and started studying Katsuhiro Otomo, and then Katsuhiro Otomo was like, oh, everything is Tezuka. And so I was like, okay, let me research Tezuka. And so I started writing a project where the original idea was I was going to analyze everything Tezuka has done before Astro Boy, thinking, how much could there be? Turns out there's a fucking lot, and it's really interesting, and there's a lot to say about it. So I wrote like 80 pages, getting through like half of what Tezuka did before Astro Boy. And then I realized, like, this is too much for one video. Like, this has to be, I have to retool this into a series. And, like, I was learning way more than I expected. I didn't know that he basically created graphic novels, because that information's not really out there. And so, but it was one of those things where I'm like, wait a minute, nothing like this existed before this, you know? And I started doing research, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this man is so underdocumented in English. And part of that, I think, is because when he was alive, he was very controlling over information about himself. Like, he was like Disney in that he wanted people to see him a certain way. So it was only towards the end of his life that he started to be like a little bit more forthcoming with the early details of what he had been up to, you know, and like letting there be documentation of him. And then he died not too long into that, you know. He was only 60. So, like, there was, if he had lived, you know, he could still be alive today, basically. There are plenty of creators. I think Yoshiyuki Tomino is, like, almost as old. No, that's not right. He's the same age as Miyazaki. Tomino's, like, 80-something. Tezuka probably would have died by now, one way or another, but I'm just saying, he could have feasibly lived into the 2020s and been, like, 100 years old, you know? But because he died so young, it feels like he hadn't really, you know, explained everything before he went. And so much of, you know, so much stuff from back then is just lost media. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of shit people that, like, literally no one knows that he published, you know, because it came out in the fucking 40s, you know, 50s. I'm going to have this on quietly in the background while I record my set. Wish me luck. Hell yeah, good luck. You can do it. I believe in you. Very interested to hear you talk about Kimba. And I haven't even gotten that far, you know, in terms of what I have read. Let me look over this document real quick. It was called, the video was going to be called Inspiration Died with Osamu Tezuka. Landon, I am not sending your shirt to Japan. I'm not paying a $55 shipping fee. Did you pay $55 to ship that shirt to the US? You are fucking insane. Not that I didn't know that, but good God. This is about a Heike Monogatari t-shirt that Landon tried to mail to himself and accidentally mailed to me. Somehow. Okay, I have to figure out what fucking Google account I have this Tezuka video written on. Because of course I don't have all of my stuff on the same Google Drive. Why would I? That doesn't make any sense. Stop trying to ask me for my home address every time I fucking log in. Creepy as fuck. What the fuck would Google Drive need my home address about? Okay, so this was The idea for this series is that it would be called Paying the Ferryman, and that I am the undead Undertaker Trixie the Golden Witch. And I have 87 pages. So it starts off with like just going through a little bit of his history. Only like 2 pages about before he starts writing manga. And then I got to the Lost World Private Edition, and I must have wrote 20 plus pages just about Lost World Private Edition. Then like a little interstitial, and then Shin Takarajima I wrote about. And then King Kong, Dr. Mars, and Golden Bat the Phantom Thief is a section. And now I'm like halfway through what I've written. The Mysterious Underground Men, I remember being a longer write-up. That's like the first one I remember being like really feeling like a good complete story besides Lost World. Secrets of the Jungle and Four Fencers of the Forest. And then Masked Adventure Kid, King Rocket, The World 1000 Years in the Future, The Streamlined Incident, Tuberculosis, Tarzan's Secret Base, and The Moony Man. I don't think I got through all of those. Or no, some of them I couldn't find. That's what it was. A lot of those just are not available anywhere. Then we have a segment called Death is the Only Reason Osamu Tezuka Hasn't Redrawn Lost World for a 5th time. And then Pistol Angel. I think Pistol Angel, yeah, I was in the process of writing about Pistol Angel when I finally decided this is way too fucking much and I need to back up, because trying to read all of Tezuka's work will kill me like it killed Tezuka to create all of it. Oh yeah, I guess I could show you all that shirt, huh? Never mind, I buried it. I buried it when I was cleaning my room the other day, so I'll break that out later. I'll have that prepared for the next stream. Shit, standing up made me have to piss. Only just watched Metropolis for the first time last year. Good movie. One of the funniest moments in my Tezuka video, there's a part where I've got a clip of Rintaro, who is the director of the Metropolis movie, and like Rintaro was like the first really good anime director in my opinion, where like his movies just look fucking amazing, and he was one of the early directors working for Tezuka Productions and Mushi Pro. Actually, I don't know if he was with Tezuka Pro or just with Mushi Pro, because there's like a split that happened, but He's adapted Tezuka's work since like the late 60s, basically. And he also did the first Galaxy Express 39 movies. He directed X 1999, and like most of the movies he directed, like the story is not necessarily great, but the visuals are fucking incredible. I do think he's like one of the best aesthetic filmmakers ever. But Rintaro, in that interview, is talking to Katsuhiro Otomo, who, you know, probably they had worked together on something at that point, because this is like in the 90s, early 90s, not too long after Tezuka's death. But Rintaro's just straight up like, yeah, Tezuka is like a bad director. You know, like, he's just not good at explaining himself. He's not good at delegation. Like, he just didn't know how to lead a team. He had infinite ideas, and he had a lot of money because his ideas had made him a lot of money. So he could pull people together, and he could create, you know, a situation that something could be created in. But he's just a pain in the ass. So, like, he's not good at directing anime. And, you know, he didn't say it quite as harshly as I just did, but it was really fucking funny, the way that he was just like, yeah, no, this is why he was not able to do what he really wanted to do as a director, you know. Whereas Rintaro, yeah, Take the X Train is fucking amazing. Just crazy beautiful. Rintaro's TV shows were already pretty good looking, from Sabuto Ichi, Torimono Hikae, Kumu Kumu, and even Arrow Hawk. And all of those I have not seen but want to. But yeah, I think Sabuto Ichi is like the first one he directed, right? Like as a full, like he directed the whole thing. Because I think he probably started on Astro Boy. I think a lot of those Madhouse guys started on Astro Boy. And then, you know, Rintaro and Masao Maruyama and like a few other very cool directors whose names are not entering my brain at the moment created Madhouse. And then Madhouse just made all the best looking anime for like 20 years until Maruyama did a little bit too much around the time of the economic collapse in 2008 and had to leave Madhouse. But then he went and made Mappa, and now Mappa is also a tremendously successful studio with gorgeous looking shows. And he left that, you know, and went and made another studio called Maps. And I think they only ever made like 2 shows, and I don't think they're active anymore. But that was just for like his personal, like, here's what I want to do, you know, without having to make it a whole sustainable business about it. That's how I understand it anyway. I could be overly simplifying why all that happened, but Masao Maruyama is my GOAT. Like my absolute, in terms of anime, Masao Maruyama is the GOAT. He's a producer, you know, he never directed anything. As far as I know, he didn't never draw a fucking picture, but he enabled all of the best animation, like just straight up. He is the world's greatest enabler of all time. After going through Tezuka's body of work, you need to read all of Go Nagai's manga. I don't think I can enjoy Go Nagai as much as Tezuka. Go Nagai is a little too dedicated to just being edgy. Like, Tezuka wanted his stories to have, like, a bite and grit. And he also did a lot of, like, you know, just working his own fetishes in there and stuff. But I think overall he was trying to be accessible. Like, he wanted his work to be broadly accessible. He's just such a fucking weirdo that, you know, it ends up being boogie pop, which is, to me, the core of what otaku culture is. It's people who are really weird trying to make something that everyone can enjoy, you know? And what they end up with is something in the middle between accessible and weird. Go Nagai was like trying to make the most countercultural thing he could at any given moment, and that can be cool, you know, but I don't think it suits my taste as much. I like seeing when people try to make something accessible and just fail, you know? Not fail as in they're not successful at, you know, like getting an audience, just fail at actually making something normal. Limiting yourself to dead people sounds like a good trade-off. Maybe limit yourself to living ones. Those are fewer. True. As for Kentaro Miura, I feel like there are plenty of people who analyze Berserk and you know, talk about it in depth, and I don't think it needs me, because I'm not like the biggest Berserk fan, you know. Like, I think Berserk is one of the greatest things ever written, but it's not for me in the way that a lot of stuff is, you know. Like, I really try to zero in on stuff that I feel like I'm gonna appreciate more than anybody else, and especially if no one's talking about it. Like, Tezuka is ridiculously undercovered on English-speaking YouTube, you know. Like, there's very few videos that talk about him at all, and even then they're not very popular. So I feel like there needs to be a cultural renaissance around recognizing Tezuka's impact and influence in English-speaking anime fandom, because he is the GOAT. He is the god, you know. Like, they literally called him Tezuka-sama, the god of manga, like, throughout his life, you know. So it's crazy how little attention he's really gotten, but it's just because he died before anime took off in America like that, you know, or in English-speaking countries. Like, it was really his successors who, you know, I mean, that's basically what I said in the Akira versus Dragon Ball video, is that, like, Tezuka was already dead, and then Akira and Dragon Ball, which at that point are both, like, 15-year-old franchises, become the biggest things in the world. You know, like they bring anime to the whole world in this way new capacity. But like both of those guys are just Tezuka fanboys, you know, who took that torch and ran with it. I agree, no one needs to read or watch any Go Nagai project unless you need some insane anime OVAs to get drunk and watch. I've read more Nagai than most, but there's nothing I'd recommend. I would recommend Devilman, with the caveat that like you should expect it to mostly just be like a pretty standard battle shonen that happens to have the craziest ending ever, you know? But even then, I've talked a lot about how influential Devilman is on anime, how many things have like copied the iconography of Devilman. I even think in doing that, I have undercredited how much of that apocalyptic imagery was already done by Tezuka. You know, like just even putting together that last video and like looking at stuff from Phoenix and Metropolis, it's like, yeah, Devilman is kind of doing some of this, you know, and just turning it into the most feverish, most insane version of it possible. But you know, everything is Devilman, so you gotta at least Devilman. Devilman, 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 everything is Devilman. Unit 1's a Devilman. All my friends are Devilman. Gonna get together with them, gonna make a Devilman. If the Devil plan. If them dudes ain't ULT, then them dudes is irrelevant. Tell me I'm a god, but no, my flows ain't fucking heaven sent. No love for the government. Fuck you all and fuck your friends. Take a funky itch and we go tear your fucking ass to shreds. Sip Tom Guang from your heads. Teach your girl to love again. Slim and fuck it to your brain until you take it back from there. Devilman, 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 Devilman. Everything is Devilman, 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 Devilman. Is weed expensive over there? It feels so cheap here in Cali, though pretty much everything else is not. Yeah, no, the difference is night and day between the West Coast and the East Coast. Because weed is almost exclusively grown in Northern California and Southern Oregon. That's where like 90% of America's weed comes from. And so in Oregon and NorCal, you can buy a $20 ounce of shake, you know, like anywhere basically, which is absolutely unreal compared to what it is here. Like I would probably pay $150 to $200 for an ounce of shake in Virginia, not even going through legal channels, like, which, you know, legal is more expensive. So yeah, it's ridiculously expensive to buy weed on the East Coast. And part of that is also because dispensaries are like we don't even have what's the word for recreational dispensaries open in Virginia yet. Like recreational weed is legal here, but they're not opening recreational dispensaries until this year. I was at the opening of the first East Coast recreational dispensary in Massachusetts in 2018, and I paid $420 for 1 ounce of weed. Because, I have a problem. But yeah, well, I had a problem. I've fixed the problem for now, I think. Will any YouTube video ever be as good as the Numa Numa Yay guy? Yes, Beef PC. Beef PC is the greatest. Beef PC and Fingers Around My Dick are the 2 greatest YouTube videos of all time. I'm gonna make them play those at my funeral. You're gonna be sitting there crying and, oh my god! Beef PC! Potato PC! I always, whenever I'm talking about how shitty my computer it is, I always call it a potato PC. Half of y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but just if you haven't seen Beef PC, just go. It's 1 minute long. Just watch it on the side. Right now, you'll enjoy yourself. The Phantom Tomo said, I am subbed to Taperclip. I must have forgotten you two knew each other. Oh, yeah. We talk every day because we're both in the Golden Butterflies Discord. So Taperclip is almost always like the first comment on my videos because Taper is like super tapped into the, playing the YouTube game with me. Like the two of us are always like, hey, everybody, you have to comment on every video in order for the algorithm to care about you. And so like we're very up on that. But yeah, Taperclip is a true soldier. $5 from Lee J 4279. Thank you. Versus Wolves became my favorite podcast thanks to your recommendation. Hell yeah. That's awesome. It is probably my favorite ongoing podcast right now. It is, in many ways, it's like what the biggest problem in the universe should have been, which is like, because the show is, if you haven't seen Versus Wolves, the conceit of it is that each episode, the two hosts recommend each other a show or a manga or whatever, like they recommend each other some piece of media. Sometimes it's literally like go start taekwondo or something, but like not literally. What was it? Not jujutsu, sorcery. No, jujitsu, was one of them. But like they recommend each other something and then they, just have a conversation about it. But there's this meta layer of them trying to fuck with each other and like create this tension, and it is so much fun because they're both clearly in on it. Like they're both doing it on purpose as a bit, but they're really good at playing into the bit. They're both wrestling fans. They do a good job of creating like wrestling heat with each other. And like that's what Biggest Problem in the Universe should have been. But the problem is with that show, in both of its incarnations, is that Dick Masterson is trying to do that show, and Maddox/Vito is just an idiot. Like, thinks they're doing the bit and is just not doing the bit. Like, is completely serious, is completely actually offended every week, like, actually fucking up their relationships for real, So, like, Biggest Problem is, like, listening to two people who started off trying to pretend to be friends and then just became, like, mortal enemies for real in both versions of the show. Whereas Versus Wolves is two really good friends pretending to be mortal enemies for segments of a podcast, but it's all in good fun, and they just do such a good job of it. Like, the tension, particularly when you're first getting into the show, you're not fully sure how much of a bit it is. The tension feels so fucking thick and palpable, It's really entertaining. I like that show a lot. It has taken the place in a time where I have completely abandoned watching Biggest Problem because Vito's fucking insufferable and I cannot listen to him. Versus Wolves has taken that spot as like an actually good version of that concept. Versus Wolves' recent Boondocks episode is my fave, and I enjoyed that quite. Actually, that's what got me into the show, because I'm a huge fan of the Boondocks, and so when I saw that they were covering the Boondocks, I was like, oh, I gotta check this out. And then the first surprise was that they actually talk about other stuff for like a whole hour before they even get into the that month's subjects, like, because it's only done once a month. So the first hour is like a catch up, like, here's what we've been up to. And then they dive into the shows, and they'll do like an hour and a half sometimes on each show. I keep saying show, but it's, activity. I don't know how to describe it. The thing that they recommended. So, like, I was so surprised by what the show actually was when I watched the Boondocks episode that led me into, I think I jumped right from the Boondocks to Kendrick Lamar, because obviously I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. And then I think I worked my way forward and then backward or something like that. What is the aphorism on the bottom left? It's cut off. Influence is instantaneous and infinite. These are my top 4 aphorisms I've ever come up with. They're all mine. They're originals from me. Romance is finding a billion ways to say the same thing. The rice, when cooked, is double what it looked. And that one is not just about rice. It's also about creative projects. You have to count on it being twice as much work as you think it's going to be. Respect yourself as your third parent and your first child. And influence is instantaneous and infinite. You still friends with the PCP fools? Nope. I haven't talked to none of them in years. Not to say that I don't think we ever could be friends, but, you know, I don't think it's really bad blood with anyone except Ben Saint. But, you know, I just haven't talked to them. No cause to do so. I have new friends. You know, I've got a whole group of people that I talk to now that are not them. Jesse did not fall off the face of the earth. He still makes patron content. I'm so tired of this. I feel like I explained this every single live stream. Jesse is Patreon exclusive. He has been Patreon exclusive for like 8 years now or something. But he still puts stuff out. You just gotta look for it. You just gotta put in the work. And pay money. Leah J said, what are the greatest anime openings ever? Ooh, there's a lot of good ones. Lately, my husband Bird listens to like more anime music than I do. Shonen Heart. That's the one that he and I both agree is like maybe the best of all time. The second Eureka 7 opening. Kuchizu-san, melody ga omoidasasete kure back in the days. Memory wa dorema kagayaite bakari iru. So you gotta remember, imama yume no kakera wo te ni ano koro no yoni. Come on, hikari hanasu shounen no hato. Undeniable fucking saxophone solo. On top of just being like the best. Days Flow, it's fine. Not even close to Shonen Heart. When I think of Days by Flow, I just think Jibunwo, and then I'm like, that's not the one. That's the other one. Like those two songs sound almost exactly the same. But yeah, no, Shonen Heart is just too fucking good. Obviously, the Soul Taker is one I always reference as my favorite because it's just magical, you know. Kizutsuita hibi no mukou ni nani ga matsu no ka. Soul Taker! Choice. What's a good recent one? I know there's been some decent anime OPs lately. I can't remember what the last one is I've actually like come back to regularly. Shit. I just keep thinking of the ones that Bird listens to, which are like good, but they're not my favorites, you know? Like he listens to the Fighting Gold a lot, or like or the Golden Wind battle theme. He's always been a huge fan of Cinder Jaeger. What the fuck is that song called? Shit, I don't remember. Uragiri no Yuyake is good. That one came into my head just now. Uragiri no Yuyake akani wa kara ni tsukuase o. Blow up loud. I don't know. I had a whole series of videos that were like a list of my top 100 OPs from like 6 years ago, but I think they all got blocked by YouTube, so. Asahiwa no Baru, yeah. Guren no Yumiya, yeah, thank you. Guren no Yumiya. Oh yeah, Mob Choir. The mob is right. The mob is right. The mob is right. That one's pretty sick. Can't believe they'll make another Ava. I didn't like the rebuild, and I genuinely have expectations with this cast, but I got burned hard last time. I like the rebuild movies, but only as of the last one existing. I highly recommend, if you haven't seen it, my anime alphabet video about the rebuilds, because I certainly can't go into as much depth right now as I did in that video, but I came around on them, and in part because my husband Bird hates Evangelion, the TV show, but he liked the rebuild movies. And it really just comes down to that he could not relate to Shinji whatsoever in the original show. Like, he's just never been like that guy, you know? But Shinji in the rebuilds, where he actually like tries to do something and then fucks up horribly, and then, you know, the last movie is literally just like 2 hours of telling autistic people to touch grass. Like, that is that whole movie, is just touch grass, you know? I think in that way, it is kind of just like a worse version of Only Yesterday, the Isao Takahata film, which is also 2 hours of telling autistic people to touch grass. But overall, the messaging of Rebuild 4 like got through in a way that Bird was able to enjoy it. And watching his reactions to those movies definitely made me understand and appreciate what they were trying to do a little bit more. Like, this isn't really for people who got the point of Evangelion. It's for people who didn't get the point, or who are themselves trapped by the curse of Eva. Like, I think part of the idea was to free you from Evangelion. Like, if you're still obsessed with this show that was never meant to hold your obsession like that, these movies are meant to kind of corrupt that and get you out of it, you know, like move you along from it. That's my interpretation anyways. But the fact that obviously Evangelion is still a money printer franchise, it's still a huge deal. It's every type of product imaginable exists in Evangelion form. They were definitely going to make another one. Like, I think I even say in that video, like, this definitely won't be the last Evangelion. So for me, it's like, I was really dreading that we were just going to end up with like some slop, like that the next Eva anime would just suck. The fact that it's Yoko Taro writing it is like the only thing that could ever have given me hope that it could be good, you know? Like, there's nothing I could no one I could imagine that would be better to handle a new Eva anime. Like, he is the perfect choice. So in that regard, I'm like, wow, they're actually going to make it work, maybe, you know? But we'll see. You know, plenty of times you've had an all-star cast or all-star team attached to something and it wasn't good. So we'll see what happens. The third movie was so bad it forced people to move on. Lol, I personally liked it, but that's the opinion I've heard most. And yeah, that's kind of like, I had really hated 3.0 when it came out, and pretty much didn't rewatch it until 4.0. And on the rewatch, I was like, I still don't think it's a good movie, but it has some interesting things in it. But mostly it sets up for 4, like, I think probably why the fourth movie took so long to come out is that they probably scrapped and rewrote it a couple times, but they ultimately created something that made me hate 3 a little less. You know, like, I still don't think it's a great movie, but I think that it sets up for 4 in retrospect, you know, in a way that made it a little easier to digest. Natsuno 420 with $2 just said, Umineko! Indeed. We were talking about this in my Discord earlier today, that some stuff is just so fucking long. It's really difficult for me to, like, I tend to kind of, like, when I'm getting ready to consume something, I block out in my mind, like, how long will this take? You know, block out as in create a block, right? So, like, if I know if I know an episode is 30 minutes, it's like, okay, I'm going to spend 30 minutes today watching this show. Umineko is so incomprehensibly long that I don't know how to block out that amount of time. Like, I don't know how to The first chapter took me 22 hours to read on live stream. The second chapter probably took just as long. I just never compiled it into one complete video the way I did the first chapter. And I think I was on chapter 3, like maybe a third of the way through chapter 3 or something, in the last stream I did. I still want to finish Umineko because it is my namesake, and it is interesting. I do like it. It's just that it's so fucking long. I don't know how to plan for it. Like, I don't know how to slot this into life, you know? Like, I feel like if I tried to do Umineko, you know, all at once consistently, it's like necessarily taking time away from a bunch of other stuff that could happen, you know? And this conversation came up because we were talking about Worm, because there's a few big Worm fans in the Discord. And, like, apparently Worm is, like, 8 different stories that are each at least 1 million words. One of them is 3 million words. Umineko's not even Umineko's, like, just over 1 million words. Like, the first part of Worm is as long as the entirety of Umineko. That's incomprehensible to me. It's longer than Homestuck's not even 1 million words, and that is by far the longest shit I've ever read, you know? And that was me as, like, a depressed 19-year-old, you know, like, who had time, who I was not doing it. I was a NEET at the time, you know? So, like, I just can't even fathom the amount of time it takes to consume something that long. Like, I have probably about 100 hours in Arc Raiders, and that is the most I have consumed of one thing in probably since Homestuck, you know, like, at least since, I think I had over 100 hours in Terra Online, because I played that pretty consistently for like a month with my friend, and, you know, it's like Arc Raiders and Terra and Homestuck are probably like the 3 things I spent the most actual time with. And they're not that long compared to even Umineko or, you know, obviously Worm and stuff like that. So I just can't even, you know, like, picture it. Fate is like 1 million words. Just the first, you know, just Fate Stay Night is like 1 million words. Like, that is just incomprehensible to me, you know? Is 24 plus episode long anime considered prestige anime, or is that just how I see things? I think that's just how you see it. I don't think there's anything special about a episode count towards how prestigious something is. I want to consume 100 hours of chicken sandwiches. You know, Bird no longer works at Chick-fil-A, but did for a while, and considering how many times he brought home chicken sandwiches from work and I ate them, I wonder how many hours that would total up to. I've probably spent 100 hours drinking beer, 100 hours in breweries in the last 5 years, maybe. Which also I haven't fully quit drinking, but I have significantly cut back. Like, I'm having, like, maybe a beer a week, you know, this month, compared to a beer a day that it was last year at minimum. So yeah, I've really been going clean. I'm like borderline straight edge right now, cuz I'm trying to get shit together, get shit cracking. And I really got to pee. So type a bunch of stuff while I go pee. I am back. Alan Moore's Jerusalem is 600,000 words. God, that's long. Haruki Murakami's IQ 84 is like 1,000,000 words? Damn, I didn't realize it was so... I mean, it is a big-looking book, but 1,000,000? God damn. I don't really read. Like, I used to feel more ashamed about it, and over time I've just been like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not a reader. Like, I dissociate from reading too easily. I'm very sonically focused, so like it's way easier for me to keep up with something if it has sound. I listen to ridiculous amounts of music, YouTube videos, you know, I like anime. I like manga, but it's tough for me to like actually read a lot of it, and especially not if I'm not listening to something at the same time, you know. I don't like audiobooks because I don't know how to pace them. Like, it just feels like I'm in an infinite number of words when I listen to an audiobook. And, you know, they just feel boring to me. I've literally never made it through a whole audiobook in my life. I've tried a few times and I've never made it through one. Which is ironic since I've made a few of them. I guess I've listened to my own audiobooks all the way through, but for me it's even harder. I don't know, I don't really know why, but it's even harder for me to listen to an audiobook than it is to read a book. Maybe it's just the speed, you know? But I tend to stop paying attention and want to do something else. But like I usually am shifting gears pretty often in like my day-to-day life. You know, like I'm a very bouncing around between different things type of a person. So it tends to be that I consume a lot more short media. The shorter the better, you know? Like if it's under 30 minutes, I will probably get through it. If it's over 30 minutes, that shit might get paused, you know? And if it gets paused, I don't know that I'm going to remember to get back to it or be in the same headspace to consume it, you know, if more stuff happens. It's funny, too, because, like, I read lots of Discord, you know? Like, I read Discord messages, I read YouTube comments, I read Blue Sky, but all of those are extreme short form. It's, you know, you read it and then you can go do something else. And then you can come back and read a little more and go do something else. And you never feel like you're losing your place. Podcasts I do listen to, but not a ton of them. Um, with podcasts, it's not so much a problem of the format as there just not being a lot of them that are really interesting to me. A lot of the YouTube videos that I watch are basically podcasts also. Like, I don't tend to watch stuff that is visual focused. It's usually just a guy talking, you know? So in that sense, a lot of it is practically podcast content. And I often am just like walking around while listening to YouTube videos. You know, like I'll be pacing back and forth across the room or typing on Discord and I've got a YouTube video open at the same time, you know? So I don't tend to consume a lot of YouTube videos that actually require my full attention. Like if it's a very visually focused one, I'm less likely to be interested than something like, you know, just 30 minutes of a talking head, you know, giving me a piece of information or a complete thought, basically. When was the last time I wrote a letter exchange with someone? Oh, my fucking browser crashed all of a sudden. Like outside the internet? Never. I'm sure I've written a letter in my life. Maybe in school. If we're talking like emails, a decade. But again, I'm on Discord a lot, so it's not like I'm not doing correspondence. It's just short, super short form, back and forth, you know? Sarah Aaron, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I am not interested in Patricia Taxon. I've heard some of her music and like seen some of her content. It just doesn't appeal to me. Some of my friends have like deeper issues with her, involving, I think, her takes on trans masculinity. But yeah, I've just haven't been able to connect with her content. That makes sense. If they can get away with a shorter season, then I can see them doing that. Unless the investment of more episodes is sure to bring in more money, so they pick up more prestige stories. I mean, what do you mean by prestige? Because like I feel like most of the longer anime is like the really popular shonen-y stuff, you know, like if you mean prestige as in just like really beloved, then that's closer to true. But like when I think prestige, I think like HBO, you know, like something that is designed to be like critically acclaimed or whatever. And I think that when it comes to anime these days, the prestige stuff is usually like 13 episodes or less. If there even is prestige anime still coming out. But I can't remember the last time I saw an anime and was like, oh, this is one of those, you know, like. Let me look at the seasonal chart and see if there's anything that looks like prestige. Like, is Frieren a prestige anime? Like, it's really well liked. I think it's pretty, you know, like, basic shit. But, I don't know if that's what you would consider prestige. Is there anything airing right now that looks like a prestige anime? If there is, I'm certainly not watching it. I guess this Ikoku Nikki looks like a potentially prestige anime just based on the image on my anime list, but I don't know what it is or what it's about or if it is actually any good. Like, is Jujutsu Kaisen prestige? I like it a lot. I think it's really well made. But when I think prestige anime, I think like Mushishi or like Kaiba or fucking, I don't know, Revolutionary Girl Utena. Anything that I put on my most boring tasted anime video, that's prestige anime. Nothing wrong with liking those shows. It is just a boring expression of taste to insist that everything you like is prestige. There is actually kind of anime Oscars. Like, anime does win awards in Japan. They're just not highly publicized. But like for instance, Utena is an award-winning anime, and that it comes up sometimes in conversation about it. But yeah, Pluto would be a good example. But like in Pluto's case, like it is prestige in the sense that it's like a really good, heady Naoki Urasawa thing. But like, is the actual quality of the anime prestige level? I have doubts, mostly because I think the backgrounds look kind of like shit in that show. But I didn't watch Pluto. My husband did, and he really loved it, and he said it was like the greatest anime he's ever seen. So I will believe that it's good. And he says that as somebody who really hates Monster. So it's not like he's an Urasawa fanboy or something. But the new Ghost in the Shell looks like it could be prestige anime. I saw Bobo Patch Igler Rules? Bobo Patch Igler Rules? I think that's your name. So I have a channel, if you don't know about it, called Nova's Anime Blog. Currently, it is dedicated to episodically blogging Turn A Gundam. I'm 14 episodes into Turn A Gundam on that channel. And when the new Ghost in the Shell comes out, I intend to episodically blog it on Nova's Anime Blog. So subscribe now if you want to get in early. I don't know when that show's actually coming out. I don't think it's starting till summer, but I'm excited. Butthole Weeb with $10 says, I will say, Flagrant Flower was a cute romance. Free Rent Season 2 is good so far. 2 Year Eternity still good from last season. Everything else is total donkey shit like JJK. Jigo Kuraku is still great. Jigo Kuraku finally picked up. Season 2 had been kind of a fucking... They spent like 3 episodes in a cave doing exposition, and since then they have continually cut back to that cave to do more exposition, and that is infuriating. But the latest episode of Jigo Kuraku was fucking awesome. It finally got back to being fucking awesome. So I'm pretty happy about that. Frieren Season 2, for me, has been boring as hell. I have been thoroughly bored by every episode of that so far. But I also read the whole manga, and I feel like we're just not in the interesting part of the manga yet. You know, like, we are the current place the anime is in is the part of the manga that I found the least interesting. So I'm not too surprised. It's just like, damn, how long am I going to have to wait before we actually get back to the good part of Frieren? But that's just me. Everybody else seems to love it. It's incredibly highly rated on my anime list. A fucking third of the runtime of every episode is the characters walking across the screen. Like, if you just compiled all the shots of characters walking, I'm pretty sure it's like 5 to 10 minutes of each episode is just walking. It's fucking boring. End of Avalon with $2 says, how has anime improved at all the last decade? I think that it seems like production schedules are slowly improving. Obviously, there was a lot of controversy around Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. I don't know if working conditions have truly improved, but at the very least, it seems like studios are trying to take their time to make like the popular shows actually look good, you know, and not try to rush through and be like, hey, we're willing to take 2 years off to work on this thing and make it good, you know. Anime peaked in 2013 with Inferno Cop, and humanity's been on a downhill trudge ever since. That's, you know, I could see that take. I can understand where you're coming from. I'm not the biggest Inferno Cop fan, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. This season is not terrible if you were already watching a bunch of anime that are now getting sequels. Over on Nova's anime blog, Bird and I are doing a limited revival of the We Watch Anime podcast just for this season because it is sequels to a bunch of shows that we were covering on the podcast before. So, actually very soon we'll be, after this weekend, we're going to record the second episode of this limited return series, which we're talking about Frieren Season 2, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Jigoku Raku Season 2, Fate Strange Fake, Fire Force Season 3 Part 2, and Trigun Stargaze. And the only one of those shows that sucks is Fire Force. Fire Force Season 3 Part 2 has been mostly ass and not really entertaining. But Trigun Stargaze has been really quite good. I actually think it's probably better than the original Trigun. But I haven't seen the original Trigun in a long time, so I can't be 100% sure. It certainly looks better. Fate Strange Fake has been a ton of fun, and episode 6 of Fate Strange Fake is maybe the most important episode of anime in my mind of the year, because it is a storyboard and directing debut. Like, the episode director and storyboarder is one person who, it's the first time they've done either of those roles on a show. They have previously been like a key animator on a bunch of stuff, but it is very unique looking, incredibly gorgeous, and just kicked ass. Like, episode 6 of Fate Strange Fake kicks a ton of ass. It's one of 2 episodes from this year that I have kept on my computer. The other one being Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 Episode 4, which is the one where Maki murders her entire family, and it's fucking awesome. Half of it's like a Kill Bill send-up, and the other half is just the coolest shit in the world. Just amazing animation, awesome fights. All the context is badass. Like, I would say that Episode 4 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 is almost like its own short film. Like you could watch it without any context and probably still enjoy it. And it's like the platonic ideal of an anime episode in my mind. It's like exactly what I would want from anime is there. But episode 6 of Fate Strange Fake was like, there are visual ideas in that episode I've straight up never seen before. Like, just completely new storyboards, you know? Like, so it constantly had me going, like, wait, what? Like, what's going on here? Why does this look so different and so cool, you know? So I really hope that that guy gets his own show, or whoever they are. That director slash storyboarder needs a lot more work because it was truly impressive. And yeah, again, the newest Jigoku Raku episode was really badass as well. But that one you'd have to be caught up to really appreciate it the same way. Medalist is Prestige. I haven't seen any of that, but maybe I'll look into it. Trixie, you are cool like Quagmire, you are funny like Peter, you are beautiful like Lois, and you are cute like Stewie. Thanks. I'm glad that I didn't get compared to Chris or Meg in all of that. I don't know if I call Quagmire cool, but but sure. Orb is a prestige show. Okay, I haven't seen anything about that either. Oh yeah, what about Ethel Cain? I passed over this. Ethel Cain is interesting. Her music doesn't really appeal to my taste, but I think is really good, and her visuals are really cool. When I first saw her because of the song, I think it was... Is it Preacher's Daughter? I think it was called God's Country, actually. And it was like an 8-minute music video where it's just like a bunch of cool shots, like lo-fi shots of her all over the Midwest. And I had just the year before done my first traveling around the Midwest. So like the fact that I was like really early in transition and had like explored a lot of places that looked just like that music video, and like seeing her in those places made me understand like, oh, this is what I should be doing. Like I should be recording myself like looking cute in a bunch of places around the US. And so like the whole Picnic Adventure channel, I would say part of the inspiration for that was Ethel Cain's video, and especially high-waisted jeans. Like seeing her in high-waisted jeans made me go, oh, that's the meta. Like if I wanted to look hot, I got to get me some high-waisted jeans, which I never ended up doing, actually. I've got my own kind of style, and I'm not really trying to look hot. But yeah, it definitely was an inspiring visual experience, more so than musical. I did listen to her album from last year, and I thought it was quite good. It made me want to listen to it like in the middle of the night on a long highway, you know, like it's that kind of music. And I haven't been in that situation since it came out. I have not been on a super long drive through the Midwest in the last year or so, but I definitely think she's great representation of that atmosphere. I think I've read everything in chat, so unless y'all have something else on your mind, I might have to wrap up this stream soon. I feel like I've drawn all of your thoughts out of your brains. I've consumed all of the idea space in your mind. That, or it's not refreshing or something. I don't know. Make sure I got all the supers. I did. Okay, yeah, I got all the supers. Oh, I see one of the cats in the background. Yes, Mr. Big Man, aka Behemoth. Actually, the other cat is just behind this. You can barely see her. Do you see how there's like a... Oh, wait, I'm blocking it with my head. Here we go. This is how I need to do this. You see that? That is the white cat over there sleeping. I don't want to move anything and disturb her, but that's cat one. She's secretly been there the whole time. She's just sleeping in the background. And that's Behemoth. He's waking up, it looks like. He looks like he doesn't want to wake up, but he is waking up. So he can spend all day meowing about how he wants to go outside again. That's what he's been up to as of late. This pie is so good I could die. Damn, I want some pie. Anyone else enjoy A Night of the Seven Kingdoms? I haven't seen it, but Bird's been watching it, and he liked it enough that it made him go back and watch the rest of Game of Thrones, because he had only seen he saw the final season when it was airing, and he thought it was cool, so he was like, why did everybody hate this so much, you know? And then he saw the first season, but he never watched any of the middle, and so after watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, he started marathoning the show. But after getting to season 5, he was like, actually, it kind of starts going to shit in season 5. So he started just kind of scrubbing through, watching all the cool shit, and then, you know, packed it away. But he seems to be pretty excited about the finale of that. And from what I've just overheard of him watching that show, it is a way more pleasant experience, because when he was watching that, I felt like I was just listening to like a kind of neat slice of life anime, you know? Whereas listening to Game of Thrones back, I was like, this show is fucking miserable, man. Like, everyone's a total asshole. It's just so violent and mean-spirited. And, like, so yeah, I think A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is probably the more, like, chilled the fuck out, you know, accessible version of a Game of Thrones story. And what I've seen of the other show, the Targaryen show, is just boring as fuck. That one's just boring. Any thoughts on Silent Hill 2 Remake? I have never even played the whole first one. I actually gave my copy of it to Gigadonk because she seemed more interested in playing it than I was. I probably should have looked up how much that game is worth before I did that, but you know, whatever. She's got a copy of Silent Hill 2 now. But yeah, I only ever played like an hour, maybe 2 hours into it. So the remake, you know, I would probably want to have played the original before the remake, just because it's one of those things where my interest in it is because so many people are so attached to it that it makes me want to see it as from a cultural anthropology standpoint. But like, in terms of being to my taste, not at all. Just not even remotely something that interests me. Same with Mugenics. I just saw you asked, you played any Mugenics? No. It is aesthetically repugnant to me. I never liked Newgrounds. Like, I never liked that aesthetic. I don't like the like edgy, gross humor or any of that stuff. Like, you know, I liked Super Meat Boy in spite of Edmund McMillan's like tendencies, you know, but I just don't enjoy stuff that looks like that or has that vibe. Because Wooly Versus has been playing it. He's been live streaming it, and I like tapped in for a little bit and was just like, nope, not for me. Because I mentioned the words God's Country earlier, I remembered that I wanted to sing a song on this stream that I wrote a few years ago. I don't know if you all know the song God's Country. I saw the light in a sunrise. Shit. How does it go? I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on a muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. That song, right? So I wrote a parody of that back in 2023 called Gay Country. And this is Gay Country. So I'm going to read you that. I'm going to sing that for you. End of Avalon with $2 said, could one reach an anime consumption plateau? I think almost everyone does. Like, have a point or have multiple points where you just kind of, you're like, okay, I'm good. You know, like, it tends to be when people get into anime, there's like a couple of shows you really love, and then you become aware that there's like so much of it, and you go, oh, I have to watch hundreds of anime, I have to marathon anime all the time. And then you get to the other side where there's not that much left. And then you go, oh shit, I need to save some anime. Like, there's only 10 more shows I know are supposed to be good. I can't watch them all right now or I'll never have anything good to watch again. That's where I'm at. I'm at, like, there are certain shows I know are supposed to be good and I'm interested in watching, and I am in no rush to get to them. So I would say I am on the anime consumption plateau, you know, and like I wouldn't be watching anime at all right now if not for Bird. Like, he is between the two of us, Bird is the anime fan. I am not, and I would not say that I am into anime like that. It is not something I make a point to consume at this point in my life. I'm way more into YouTube videos and music, you know, which I consume constantly. So like, anime for me is a couples thing. It's just a thing I do because Bird likes it, you know. I didn't pick out necessarily the shows we'd be watching this season. I'm just like, hey, here's the stuff I think you are interested in, you know. Icky Sticky Mars entering new short to a fest. Wish me luck. I do wish you luck. I know you have the skills. You've got the talent. Your work is great. I think you'll do good. All right. I'm going to sing Gay Country now. Bow down. Bow down. Bow down. Come inside of this fag whore mouth. There's a pink back hole that's yours for the filling. Got an empty ball sack when you stick around in Gay Country. We suck each other's dicks at the same time. We take turns but fucking each other. We put it back in the mouth. I guess that's why they call it Gay Country. I saw the brown on a hard dick, but he just kept pushing. Guess he didn't give a shit. Getting washed out with an enema of piss in Gay Country. Just at the sound of a split twink beating little batty booty till it's bigger and it's pink. The devil went to Virginia and he got it in the stinking Gay Country. We lick the shaft and rub up on the nutsack. We put 3 fingers right up in the pooper and back in the mouth again, 'cause that's how it be at Gay Country. I saw the brown on a hard dick, but he just kept pushing. Guess he didn't give a shit. Getting washed out with an enema of piss in Gay Country. Just at the sound of a split twink beating little batty booty till it's bigger and it's pink. The devil went to Virginia and he got it in the stinking Gay Country. I don't remember how the third verse goes. Like, I don't remember the tune of it. So we'll cut it off there. Absolutely insane point to pull up the stream. Indeed. Gay Country. I wrote that because I actually really like God's Country as a song. But obviously, I had to make it my own. I had to make it about my world and my experiences. Did you cover The Legend of Galactic Heroes remake in your Anime Alphabet video? I haven't seen the video for spoilers. It's really good so far. No, but I promised I would in the sequel that I still haven't made. All right. I think that's it for this stream. I feel like I've exhausted everything everyone had to say. And I got Gay Country out into the world, which I'm pretty happy with. Again, wrote this back in 2023, November, and I've just been sitting on it like a big old dick. All right, everybody. Good night. Oh, yeah, I'm going to see Foxy Shazam tonight, so that's why at the start of the stream I was singing Foxy Shazam, because they're playing here in Norfolk tonight. Uh, everyone in my house is going. We're doing a whole fucking. We're gonna rock up as a party to the Foxy Shazam show. They got two bands I'd never heard of but seem all right opening. Descartes et Kant and Mundo. Don't know them, but whatever. I'm going to learn today. But Foxy Shazam, I've seen them once live as an opener to something I didn't stick around for like 15 years ago, and it was one of the best live shows I've ever been to. This time they're actually headlining. I've seen the set list. They're playing a bunch of my favorite songs, so I'm going to get hype. I'm going to jump around. I'm going to go crazy. I'm probably going to cause a mosh pit at an inappropriate moment or something. I might end up with some bruises, you know. I might end up eating a cigarette or something because that's what the singer tends to do. I probably won't. But I'll definitely see a man eat a cigarette tonight. Or 5 like he did last time. 5 lit cigarettes I watched this man eat the last time I saw them live. Foxy Shazam is crazy. If you thought Gay Country was a crazy live performance, nothing on Foxy Shazam. Anyway. Later. Thanks for listening.